Am I the a-hole for cutting contact with my childhood best friend because she demanded that I break up with my fiancé? I, 21 female, cut contact with one of my closest childhood friends, married 21 female, a few weeks ago. While I feel relieved she's out of my life, most of my family and mutual friends think I overreacted. And now I'm starting to second-guess my decision. I'm going to include some background information here. Mary and I practically grew up as sisters. We were neighbors, and our parents started arranging play dates for us before we could even walk. From kindergarten to secondary school, we did everything together. If I wasn't at her house, she was at mine. I trusted her completely and never thought of her as anything other than my best friend. Things changed when Mary moved away for university. At first, I missed her, but over time, I noticed how much easier my life felt without her constant presence. I wasn't being criticized, guilt-tripped, or forced to justify my choices anymore. It became clear how much control she had over me. Mary had a way of dominating every aspect of my life. She dismissed my hobbies and pressured me to quit them, and if she didn't like one of my friends, I'd have to cut ties. You could call me a pushover, but when you grow up with someone like that, it's hard to see the manipulation for what it is. Things really came to a head when I met my now fiancé Dave, 27 male. He's amazing, kind, supportive, and everything I've ever wanted in a partner. We clicked instantly, and he's honestly the best thing that's ever happened to me. But of course, Mary didn't approve. She immediately tried to plant seed of doubt, saying he was too old, he'd cheat, or he was only using me. Thankfully, once I didn't listen to her, and I'm so glad I didn't. In December, Dave surprised me with a dream vacation, and during the trip, he proposed. Everything about it was perfect. He planned every little detail, and it was more magical than I could have ever imagined. I was over the moon and couldn't wait to share the news with everyone. Naturally, I told Mary, expecting at least some excitement. But instead, she downplayed the entire thing. She nitpicked the proposal, saying how she would have done it differently and what could have been better. It stung, but I brushed it off and reminded her that it was my proposal, not hers. A few weeks later, we met in person for the first time in months. That's when things completely fell apart. Out of nowhere, Mary told me I should break up with Dave. When I asked why, her reasoning had nothing to do with me. Instead, she compared him to her boyfriend Julian, 22 male, saying things like, Dave makes more money than Julian, and Dave can give you everything, while I have to work for what I want. It was clear she wasn't concerned about me. She was just jealous. She couldn't handle the fact that, for once, my life seemed better than hers. That was the breaking point for me. I told her to leave my house, and afterward, I sent her a long message explaining how hurt and disappointed I was. I told her that her behavior was unacceptable and that I didn't want her to contact me again. Since then, it feels like she's told everyone in our social circle. Mutual friends and even some family members have reached out, saying I was too harsh and should have handled things differently. They said, that's just how Mary is. You've known her your whole life. She's always been in the spotlight and gotten what she wanted. Some even accused me of breaking her heart and said it was wrong to choose my fiancé over a lifelong friend. Even my mom said she expected better of me, and that's what's making me question my decision. Did I overreact? Mary has been a huge part of my life for as long as I can remember. Sure, she has her flaws, but we've also shared countless good times and memories. Am I throwing away years of friendship over this? Should I try to fix things? Or was cutting her off the right choice? For clarification, I don't know exactly what Mary told my friends and family, since most of the messages I received were pretty vague. I also didn't ask my mom what Mary said happened. I was too angry to have a calm conversation after my mom told me I was being dramatic, which led to me yelling at her. All I know is that Mary admitted to asking me to break up with my fiancé, but I don't know if she explained why she wanted me to. Lastly, my parents raised Mary like a second daughter, and she's always been incredibly kind in front of them. I guess that's why they didn't believe me. Maybe they're just in denial because it's easier for them to handle. I don't know. But I get it. Hearing something bad about someone you like for the first time can make you want to deny it. Now for the top comments. not the a-hole. I cut ties with a friend a couple years ago that I now recognize as a narcissist. I've found out so much since breaking ties with her. Was it hard for you as well to cut her off? Because honestly, while I'm happy that she's gone, I'm also kind of sad. We've spent some amazing years together, and every memory I have of my childhood includes her. Have you discussed this with your fiancé? I mean, tell him everything like you did here and ask him what he thinks. He would give you an outsider's opinion since he hasn't known her as long as everyone else has. Also, I can guarantee she didn't tell everyone the true story. She told them whatever would make her look like the victim instead of you. You have a few options here. You can ask each person individually what she told them, or you can do group message explaining what actually happened. Either way, you need to get your side of the story out there. It might change a few opinions. My fiancé was the first person I talked to about this whole situation, and he was the one who suggested cutting contact with her in the first place. Bye, Felicia. That witch is toxic. You need women in your life who will lift you up, not push you down. Cut her off. No invitation to the wedding. I completely agree, and I'm not planning on inviting her or speaking to her ever again in general. But it's honestly so painful to think about her not being part of my wedding. I've known her forever, and all my childhood memories include her. We've talked about our potential weddings a lot and how great it would be to have each other as our maid of honor. Not the a-hole. It's really easy for everyone else to tell you to keep putting up with Mary's nonsense because they aren't the ones that have to deal with her. They want you to fall back in line so they don't have to deal with the tantrums she's throwing. She wants to steal your peace, like she's done your whole life. You are the only person who can protect it. Basically, everyone is telling OP to keep her happy for us, will you? She throws such a fit when she isn't happy. When she asks you to push around, she demands less of us. It sounds like the parents started using OP to do this when they were kids. And I'm kind of worried about OP and her fiancé. If her whole family and friend group has been like this her whole life, it's a really hard habit to break in romantic relationships. My parents basically raised her and view her as a daughter. I guess their main issue with me cutting contact is that they won't get to see their second daughter as often anymore. Or at least not without me being mad at them. When I was younger, I never saw Mary's behavior as something bad. I don't know if my parents were aware of her pushing me in certain directions, since she's been incredibly kind to them all the time. And I didn't really say, hey, I quit gymnastics because Mary told me to. Next story. Am I the a-hole for using my sister's words against her and saying she should feel lucky to have her kids and to have all that time with them? I, 32 female, have been low contact with my sister Jade, 33 female, for almost 3 years now. I have fertility issues and have been unable to conceive naturally or with fertility medication. When Jade was pregnant with her third child, I had just ended my time on a fertility medication. At that time, I was upset to be at the end of another option in my fertility journey. Jade sent me a text a couple of days after I finished and bluntly asked if I was pregnant yet. The text came out of nowhere, and the tone felt very harsh. But we had been close, so I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt and told her, unfortunately, no. But it wasn't the end. She came over to my house later that day and told me she was pregnant again, her third child, and that I should quit making a big deal out of having kids, and just be grateful I get to spend time with her kids. She said she had been ready to announce her pregnancy the day I ended my time on the fertility medication. And then our mom asked me about it in the family group chat, which includes the two of us and our parents. I told her I had no idea, and if she had wanted to announce, I wouldn't have blamed her. She said I might not have, but everyone would have thought she was selfish and insensitive. She told me I should just accept that I'm meant to be a babysitter, not a mother. She said I should feel lucky for what I have, embrace it, and be more useful to her. My husband and I babysat a lot for Jade and her husband. I was also her second birthing partner for her first 2 kids because her husband isn't the best in medical situations. It hurt me to hear Jade talk like that, but I didn't want to think the worst of her, so I asked her if she was okay and if anything was wrong. She made it clear that she really didn't care about me and saw me as a useful tool, babysitter, instead of a person who had her own stuff going on. She even told me she was glad my fertility treatments had failed because I could give up and focus on our kids. At that point, I pulled way back, and we're no longer close in any kind of way. Jade was surprised at first and then told me I was just selfish and trying to be something I wasn't meant to be, a mom. My parents were upset with what Jade said and asked her to apologize to me, but she never has. She defended her stance, saying I could be of better use. When our parents told her it was wrong to talk to me like that, she said it was fine and that I was never that great of a babysitter anyway, so they're better off without me. My husband and I are still trying to conceive, but we're also focusing on staying mentally healthy through it all. I prioritized therapy for a while after the breakdown in my relationship with Jade. A few days ago, Jade texted me and asked me to babysit her 4 kids. 2 were in school, so I need to pick them up after school, and the other 2 I was supposed to have all day. She said she had some kind of doctor's appointment, and our parents said no. I replied with a simple no. She texted back saying I needed to do this because she couldn't bring her kids to the hospital with her. I repeated my response of no and left it there. She told me I needed to freaking step up, that she'd already had to reschedule a few times because she had a kid so much and she couldn't bring them with her. Where I might be the a-hole is that I sent a longer reply this time, telling her she should feel lucky to have her kids and be grateful for all the time she gets to spend with them, using her own words against her after 3 years. Jade went nuts after that, but I ignored every text and didn't read most of them. She told me it wasn't a time and that a hospital appointment is a big deal. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Jade can pound sand. I am petty and an a-hole, and here is what OP should do. Refuse to babysit for the next 12 months and let Jade enjoy the full benefits of parenthood. Also, I love how OP simply replied, no. Such a complete answer. Not the a-hole OP. Not the a-hole. She hasn't been empathetic or considerate during your fertility struggles. She has belittled and insulted you, undermined you, yet still expects you to bend over backward for her when it comes to babysitting duties. You don't owe her anything, and you deserve to focus on yourself and starting a family. Stick to your boundaries and don't allow your mother or anyone else to guilt you into doing things you don't want to do. Plus, if you were never that good of a babysitter anyway, she should find someone who is. I wanted to say that to her actually, but then I also knew I shouldn't engage too much either because she already had my answer. I'd be so petty I would screenshot her messages back to her after a couple of days as she needs some serious education about herself. If it's possible, but some people are just oblivious. I'd say, are you quite well? You told me I wasn't good enough, remember? Stuff over text is easily ignored, so I'd put it in actual writing exactly why you are low contact and happier for it. Good for you, OP. Do yourself a favor and just block her. I feel sorry for your nieces and nephews growing up with a mother like her. Best of luck on your fertility journey. Not the a-hole. It's something I'm considering after this. The fact she reaches out to me directly for the first time in years, and it's to ask for more free babysitting. It tells me there is no room for growth and change, and I could be better off blocking her. There's some guilt about it on my end that I'll bring up with my therapist. Last story. Am I the a-hole for blocking my step-siblings and my dad's wife while I'm at my mom's house? My parents broke up when I, 17 male, was 4. My dad got married when I was 6 and divorced her when I was 9. He had a son with his first wife. My parents were never married. My half-brother is 9. I don't remember the last time I saw him. His mom moved out of state with him years ago. My dad remarried when I was 11 and his wife already had 3 kids. My step-siblings are 15, 13, and 12. To cut to the chase, I don't really like my dad. I don't think he's a very good dad. His wife is annoying, and I hate having to be around her. She seems to think that marrying my dad gave her the authority to mold me into one of her kids. She goes to church and has tried to drag me with her and her kids, make me read the Bible, and embrace her religion. She even called my mom a bad parent for sending me to public school. There's a whole bunch of stuff like that, and I just can't stand her. My step-siblings aren't bad, but I don't see my dad marrying their mom as enough to make them my siblings. especially when my dad is a pretty bad dad overall, and their mom is so annoying that I'd like to yeet her into space. They also annoy me when they try to make me responsible for them and go to their mom, who then insists that I take them places when I'm with my dad. This got worse after my mom got me a car and I started driving. Their expectations of what I do went way up. A few months ago, my mom took my dad back to court to change the custody agreement. The judge ruled that I only need to spend 8 days a month with my dad. That could be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday twice a month, or each weekend. I chose the TFSS option because I want weekends not spent with them. I'm not allowed to block my dad on my phone. I can't mute him or ignore calls/texts from him according to the judge. However, I do block his wife and stepkids. Last weekend, my stepsister, 15, was trying to call me while I was at my mom's, but I didn't know because she was blocked. She had been somewhere with friends and they abandoned her. It was getting late too. She ended up calling her mom after trying to reach me for ages, saying she called me because I was close to her. When they got back, they told my dad. I don't know if he didn't care or just let his wife handle it, but she called me from his phone and yelled at me for ignoring the calls. My dad called me a couple of days later and asked why I didn't answer. I said I had no idea she'd called. He asked how, and I just said I didn't know. When I went to my dad's on Thursday, his wife took my phone from my hand and saw that I didn't get the calls. They figured out that I'd blocked her during my mom's parenting time. Then they realized the reason I never reply to my dad's wife or my step-siblings while I'm at my mom's is because I have them all blocked. I'm so glad I get to go home later today, but it's been tough here. My dad's wife has been berating me for being a crappy older brother to her kids. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. You don't have any responsibility to your dad's wife's kids. I shouldn't, but they give it to me when I'm there. It's why I'm glad I spend less time over there now. Not the a-hole. I tell her and your dad, your kids are not my responsibility. I didn't choose to have them in my life. I didn't choose to have you in my life. I didn't even choose to have my own father in my life. If I had a choice, none of you would be in my life. Let's make that very clear. The judge ordered me to be here 8 days a month, so I'm here. That's all you're getting from me. Don't ask for more. You're almost 18. This will just tell them that you're going no contact when you're 18 and not to be surprised. No, you're not the a-hole. It isn't your responsibility to respond to them. It shouldn't be, but at their house, they make me be responsible for them. I hate it, honestly, and especially when I'm running to pick them up like they should be. Not the a-hole. You're not a crappy older brother because you're not their older brother. You go there to see your dad. That's the way it's supposed to be. I prefer it way more if I didn't go at all, but only a few more months and then I'm done.